You have questions? America's #1 business coach has answers. It's your Broda from Minnesota. Here's another edition of Ask Clay Anything on the Thrive Time Business Coach Radio Show.
Yes, and yes. Dr. Z, we have a great guest here. We have an Oral Roberts University graduate and a new member of the team who has a question for you, my friend. Welcome.
So he didn't get thrown out of school?
No, he actually followed the rules. He signed the honor code and decided to implement the vast majority of the things that he agreed to do.
So the thing he signed saying I'll do it, he actually did it?
Whereas I read the honor code and viewed it as a suggestion, a series of suggestions that I did not want to adhere to after signing it.
And therefore, it led to you being asked not
to leave the college.
Yeah.
But that was pre-Christ.
I didn't want to get into all that
No,
stuff.
those are just the facts. We're a fact-driven show. If you go to YouTube and you look for the ORU Slim Shady on YouTube, there are the facts. And that is the reason why I got kicked out of Oral Roberts University, that audio little gym.
Well, was it the fact that you did that, did he, or that you pushed it out over the phone lines?
I did not.
Repeatedly.
I did not.
Well, of course not.
Put it out over the phone lines.
Yes.
I had a member
Technology
of the ORU student who said, hey, remember the Oral Roberts student body, a member of the student body said, can I borrow the CD? I said, sure, you can borrow the CD. He said,
sure.
Okay. And then the next thing I know, I'm getting calls from people going, dude, I'm hearing that song on Napster.
Wow.
And I honestly at that point did not have a Napster account. So I was going, really? And then I started
seem like you'd have been an early adapter to Napster.
I was not. I was buying all the music. I really was. I was buying all the music. And I did start getting voicemails, though, from the dean's office. And said, you have a message from, this is how it went, boop. You have a message from Dean Boyd's office. I hit play, and it's that song. And I'm like, how did that happen?
How did that happen?
The song kept being sent out.
I apparently didn't do it, right?
I did not do it. But I was not upset that it happened. I'll tell you that.
I'll tell you that much.
Okay.
Okay, so a young man who actually went through the same university, and what was your degree in, by the way?
Marketing.
Oh, very good.
Yeah.
All right.
Very good.
Well, what question would you have for Dr. Robert Zillner?
Dun-dun-dun.
Dr. Z, I have a question for you. So, when starting up a business and you're doing all these sales avenues and you're doing all these different areas, how do you know when to pull out of a sales avenue and say, this one is not going to be working for me?
Couple little tricks. One of the things that you have to do is be able to track your advertising.
Okay.
Back in the olden day, we used to do an old school technique called asking the customer.
What?
I know.
Come
Stop
on.
it. Stop
That's a
it.
thing?
How old was this?
That's so long ago. I don't know.
In the golden years.
And the golden years, back when stone was stone and round, well, we didn't know what that
and
was.
dinosaurs were running around going, rah, rah.
Is that a Triaxilon or a Tyrannosaurus Rex? I don't know.
Sure, how did you hear about us?
So we would actually ask the customers
With
when
words?
they came in with words, and that was part of the checklist of things that we asked them. It was on a sheet. If they didn't check it or they didn't fill it out, then we asked them again. And when I actually went in to do an eye exam on the patient, I then went over that yet again. So they had 3 opportunities to either lie, not tell me the truth, or come up with a story. And at first it went like this. Oh, I heard your ad on the radio.
Mm-hmm. Oh, well, okay, that's easy to track.
Okay,
I'll
so
put a
then-
tally mark right there.
So then the next thing you want to ask them is, which radio station, right?
Right.
Right.
And I would say probably 10% of the time, maybe 15, they would say a radio station I never had advertised on.
Oh, good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Liars! Liars!
Liars.
Gotta
But
love
what it let me know is, and then sometimes they would say one that I did advertise on, but I also realized that it was not an exact science, but it did reaffirm that radio was working.
Mm-hmm.
What I would do sometimes early on, I would actually print a coupon and send that out via the mail.
Wow.
I know, crazy,
Wow.
right?
I didn't even know post offices did that.
I know, Oof, crazy. And they would have to bring that in to get the deal
With their bodies?
with their bodies, typically in their hand or in a pocket.
How could they avoid the dinosaurs?
Well, you have to dodge them.
Was it safe?
It's like dodgeball. You can
Okay.
dodge a dinosaur, you can dodge anything. So then they would come in. So that's another way of tracking, going, okay, this worked.
Okay.
Another little trick that we used to do back in the day
Back in the day.
is we'd have a phone that was landline. I know this sounds crazy.
Is that the one with the cord?
With a cord
Wow.
connected to the phone systems. And we would and I'd have different lines on there, different numbers. I have the main number,
Right.
and if it was busy, it would roll over to the others, right?
Right.
But what I did is sometimes I would actually do an ad with one of those back numbers on it to see if that phone rang. Then they tracked where that ad came from. They tracked that phone number got a call in. So those are kind of old school ways of doing it.
So was this like back when the TVs weren't flat?
TVs weren't flat.
But that's correct.
Was Silver Spoons the hottest show or what?
That actually was. How'd you know? So,
right.
but now you have some other techniques. And then it
Yeah.
finally got to the point where I had so many different levels of advertising, and my business continued to grow. And so after a point, I would ask somebody, "How did you hear about us?" And they'd say, "Oh, I hear you every morning on the radio." And you're like, "Oh, well, thank you. You got to be careful."
But you're not emotional about it. If it doesn't work, you stop doing it.
Well, true, but my point is that sometimes it kind of overlaps on each other. And they go, and the person in the cubicle next to me at work comes to see you, and you're like, okay, which one brought him in? And then they reach in their pocket, pull out a coupon, and they go, but I got this.
And then
out
my
the phone
friend
book.
from work, Susan, told me about it, and I was like, what? And she gave me a coupon, but I heard it on the radio, and I called you, and you called me back, but then I saw your sign while I got here.
But I'm going to tell you this right now. Listen to this. This is going to sound freaky.
Okay.
Every form of advertising works if done correctly.
What?
Now, here's the kicker.
Okay.
What gives you your best return on your money, though? On your monies? You kids, and I say kids affectionately, people that are starting up a business now have it so easy.
So easy.
We had to commit to our Yellow Page book photo for an entire year.
Right.
$3,000 a month.
I mean, you get that picture a little off skew. You look like you've been sucking persimmons all day or something. You look like you're not quite right.
Do you remember what the most amount
That's
of money?
a year commitment.
What's the most amount of money you remember dropping on a Yellow Page ad for a month? I remember dropping $2,500 a month going, whoa, I hope this works.
Yeah, same here. Probably 3,000.
I mean, that was like a full page,
Wow.
half
that was
page.
back when $3,000 was actually $3,000.
That was back when it meant something.
Back when 100 was 100. Not
Back when
20.
fathers loved their kids. Back when the dinosaurs were.
Back when we hunted brontosauruses.
Back when Silver Spoons was on.
Yeah,
Oh,
there
no.
you go.
That's awesome.
Back before we had flat TVs. Now, the key is this. Information is always, and you know this in marketing, right? Because that's what you guys do. You go out to the mall, you ask a bunch of questions. It's all about ask, gather data.
Right.
And so it's the same thing in advertising for a company. You know, you've got to ask the people that are coming in, what brought you in? Why are you here?
Come on.
You know? And if you have a call to action, sometimes that can help, right? So, like, for instance, if you have a billboard that has a particular call to action on it, maybe your first visit $1, all right?
Right.
And people come in and talk, hey, I saw your ad for $1. You know, the only place you had it on there was a billboard, right? So sometimes you could do selective call to actions, and then sometimes it's just your overall plan. And you know what? And if things are rocking and things are going up and you got people coming in the door,
Come on now.
what you're doing is working. Don't overthink it so much. Some
Right.
people are like, well, let's see, I'm spending $5,000 on radio and $1,000 on AdWords, but it'd be better off spending.
Well, here's the
$4
thing
and
about
$2
digital
each
advertising
month.
that's really crazy is, by the way, is if I Google search right now, let's say Tulsa optometry clinics, and I find your optometry clinic, the average person is searching on their smartphone for these things on Google. They're using Google while using their smartphone. Thus, they are doing it while in between meetings, while driving, they shouldn't be, while on the phone with somebody else, whatever. Then they get an inbound call, they get interrupted. Now your ads follow them around the internet because those are called retargeting ads. And now they see you. Now they see you again on Facebook. And if you ask them, "How did you hear about us?" they would say, "So I think it's like the radio commercials, but your ads are following me everywhere. But really, it's the sign. I don't know. I just saw the sign."
I saw the sign.
People say that all the time, though. They don't go, "It's the retargeting ads that haunt me." That's what it is.
Right.
No one says that. Everyone
Right.
says ads don't work on me. No, they don't.
So we teach in our
Yeah.
in-person workshops. We teach in our to at least have 3 different legs of advertising, 3
Right.
different degrees of advertising. You know, and when things are working, they're working. You know, your numbers are going up. People are coming in the door. You're asking them. They're at least mentioning one of those
Oh.
3, right?
Right.
Hopefully.
Sometimes you can have click-throughs, you can have funnels, you can do a lot of stuff online is easy to track these. You guys have got it so easy these days. A few $100 you can dominate.
Dude, it's so much easier.
The Google, is it Oogle? Is it a silent G or is it Google? Is it
I hear they're calling
Google?
it the Google.
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 Crazy.
Google.
Google. I didn't
It's
know
like
if there's
Michael
a-
Bublé. But
Yeah,
Google.
I thought there's
Do
a
you guys like
accent
Silver
over the last
Spoons?
E. Yeah.
Have you guys seen Silver Spoons?
You know what? I'm going to bring that back, but it's going to be Silver Sporks. It's going to be a Silver Spork the next time.
Here
it comes
we
down.
are, face to face, a couple of silver spoons. Love that show.
I know. Now the next one's going to be Silver Sporks. I'm coming. 'cause
Silver
a spork-
Sporks.
A spoon is
We're
good.
two of a kind.
A spork is even better.
It is.
So
A
that's
fork
going
and
to
a
be
knife,
second
something
round.
Rather make it. I guess we have a fork and a spoon together. We're gonna find our way. Watch out for the dinosaurs.
That's pretty good.
That's impressive.
I think we're on to
I'm going to have
something
you write my theme song for my show. I'm going to have.
Nice.
So to answer your question, you need to really keep an eye on your advertising, on
Yep.
your spend.
Yep.
You can sometimes commit to too much,
Yep.
and therefore that's not healthy, or too little. You know, the advertising is the gas pedal for your business.
Right.
So make the same analogy with the car. People that don't advertise, it's as silly as going and buying a new Ford pickup truck, having it out front full of gas, detailed. You got the fuzzy dice and maybe a
To save
pine
money.
tree hanging from the rearview mirrors, you know.
To save money, I'm not putting gas inside.
No, you put gas in it, and then what
Oh.
you do is you go out and sit in the truck in the driveway. You start it up, but then you don't press the gas, and
No.
you wonder, why am I not going anywhere? What's wrong
So
with this
crazy.
truck?
Right.
I've got this great truck, and now it's not going anywhere.
I have a question for Dr. Zellner. Final question before we wrap up.
Is this about silver spoons?
That's about Walmart.
Oh.
If it's a mart and it's Walmart, why don't they sell more walls?
Wow.
Wow, that just happened.
Just wanted to know. I'm just curious.
Well, I'm not sure
Silver
about that.
spoons.
I'll look into that.
Okay.
I'll look into that. But I think sometimes with advertising, you got to figure out your budget, and if you don't have a budget, then you shouldn't have a company, because you have to have a war chest for your advertising. You have to, when you open a company, you have to have part of that money. It's kind of like saying, I built this new building for my business. And you're like, well, you don't have any windows or doors. And you're like, I couldn't afford those, man.
Right.
I couldn't afford those. You're like, well, you didn't have no security. People could this is just crazy.
Crazy.
Nobody would do that. Or nobody would open up a shoe store and you walk in, they have no shoes. You're like, well, I couldn't afford inventory, bro. But I got some pictures here of shoes.
Great-
Look,
great photos.
Yeah, we
Great
can
photos.
order these.
Great photos.
I'll
Oh,
go to
man.
Amazon back here and order them for you.
Right.
It's like, really? No, you got to have the product. And advertising is one of those line items that you have to account for. You have to have it, So I think I deal more with people on that want to say I can't afford it, or I don't want to do it, or it's intimidating to me, or I don't know where to start. Those are
Right.
the people out there that I'm more concerned about than the guys that are saying, hey, I'm rocking it. How do I fine tune it? Or how do I really maximize my dollar? Instead of spending $1,000, maybe I can spend $500 and get the same result. Maybe I need to spend $2,000 and I get 10 times the result, And so that's the kind of mindset that I like. That's the kind of stuff you get in marketing, hopefully from college.
Right.
That's that problem solving mindset. But if you're listening out there, and we know according to Forbes, there's 2 out of 3 of you are thinking about starting your own business, you have to, I reiterate, you have to make sure when your line items that you're starting that business is advertising dollars.
Got to factor it.
Just like you got to factor in phone systems, just like you have to factor in employees, just how you have to factor in, rent for so many months, and electricity and gas and water and all the things that you have to do to have a business, And so, anyway, great question, and I kind of danced around a little bit,
Yeah,
but
that was a good answer. Thank you.
but you got to kind of dig in, and the main thing is why are you here? What brought you in? That's the most powerful thing you can ask one of your customers that comes in the door, and then people that aren't coming in, you can randomly just tackle them in the mall, right? And say, why aren't you coming in?
I will say this it's just kind of a segue as we wrap up today's show.
Okay.
If you have any questions at all, there really are no dumb business questions as long as you're coming from a place of sincerity.
Sure.
We don't like to get into conversations about the ethics of marketing and should you invade people's privacy with your ads. If it's legal and ethical, we're all about trying to sell it at a profit. Right, Z?
Absolutely.
So if you're out there today and you feel stuck with your business, just email us to info@thrivetimeshow.com or go to our website and leave us a voicemail, and we might play it right there on the air.
Why wouldn't we?
And here we go. Without any further ado, these mics are hot. 3, 2, 1, boom! You have to record your calls or your business will fall off a cliff called mediocrity. You've got to record your calls or your business will fall off a cliff called mediocrity. Now, what's the company I recommend? I recommend Clarity Voice. How do you get a good deal? Go to thrivetimeshow.com/clarity. thrivetimeshow.com/clarity. Tim, You work in the call center. What's your final justification and reason why you think all the business owners out there should record their calls?
Yeah, if you want to make sure you actually have a good call and don't sound like you're having a panic attack while you're talking to a customer, it'd probably be a good idea to record your calls.
Daisy, what's your final encouragement as a call center manager? How impossible would your job be without recording calls? What's your final tip for the listeners out there as to why they should record their calls?
Well, I just look at Tim. He's like my personal testimony. We literally called him the nervous bomb diffuser for the first 6 months he worked with me. And it's like he went from nervous bomb diffuser to Brad Pitt overnight.
And I used to be the fast-talking, confused guy at my first job. And then they played my calls, and they're like, wow, you talk fast, and wow, you're confused. And so we all have some sort of dysfunction that we can't fix, right?
Absolutely.
If we can't hear the calls.
Absolutely.
So if you're out there today, again, go to thrivetimeshow.com/clarity.
You know what they say.
Go to thrivetimeshow.com/clarity.
You know what they say.
Go to thrivetimeshow.com/clarity.
You know what they say.
Quit saying that, because I don't know what they say, but I know that I say go to thrivetimeshow.com/clarity.
You know what they say. See a broad to get that booty yak 'em. Leg her down or smack 'em, yak 'em.
Thanks. That clears it up.
Wow.